Hey everybody, how's it going? It's me, Logan Joyce, aka Suburban Yinzer, and right now I'm at the Bushy Run battlefield. At this approximate spot on August 5th and 6th, 1763, this was the approximate location of the battle between the, let's just say, Native Americans, aka Indians, and the British troops consisting of Scottish Highlanders and English regulars and some American militia or American units affiliated with the British Army. So this statue, this memorial, basically paying tribute to both sides, both Indian and British, really encapsulates what the battle was about or what the legacy is about. It's not promoting the British, but it's also not promoting the Indians either. It's promoting both sides who fought, bled, and died in this battlefield in 1763. But to give you a little bit of background, let's just start with the statue here. So we're going to start with the Indians. And as for me personally, I have a little bit of sentimental views when it comes to the Native Americans or the Indians, quote unquote, because my mother's side of the family has Powhatan blood all the way to the colony of Virginia. So I have a lot of affiliation and respect and empathy with the Native Americans or Indians. So we got the Delaware, the Mohican, the Miami, the Ottawa, Seneca, Shawnee, and Wyandot. And then we have over here the Scottish, British, and American forces. Let's just say the English, Scottish, and American, British all together. We have the 42nd Regiment of Foot, the 60th Regiment of Foot, the 77th Regiment of Foot, Captain Barrett's Rangers, pack horse drivers. So, to give a wee bit of synopsis and a little bit of explanation and background about this battle, this is approximately taking place after the end of the French and Indian War. The French and Indian War was fought between 1754 and 1763, and this region, southwestern Pennsylvania, approximately the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania region, currently today, was the headquarters and the magnet of both the French Empire and the British Empire. But as for this location I'm at right now on Bushy Run in Jeannette, Pennsylvania, in Westmoreland County, right outside Harrison City, this battle took place at the end or maybe the conclusion of the French and Indian War. So the Battle of Bushy Run was fought between August 5th and 6th, 1763 in this approximate location, but it was attributed to Pontiac's rebellion. So at this time, the Native Americans, the Ohioan forces, consisting of these tribes in this area, the Ohioan tribes, they were affiliated and allied with the French Empire. So once the French got beaten after the French Indian War by the British, the French had to basically abandon all of their forts, all of their territories, and all their claims out of this region. So the British then won this region. Now the Indians and these tribes are very mad about this. They know that the British are not as friendly and not as, let's just say, empathetic to the Indians. So they're going to be a lot more, just let's say, pushy and aggressive when it comes to their territorial expansion out in this region in southwestern Pennsylvania, or the colonies in general. So what happened was the Indians, or the Ohioan tribes right here, they decided to basically attack all of the past French forts that the British claimed. And one of those forts specifically was Fort Pitt. And Fort Pitt is in present-day Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, on the point. So what happened was the Indians wanted to besiege the fort, wanted to cut it off from the supplies, which then caused a crisis, and that's what caused the basically the help of these regiments or these units, the Scottish and the English and American units consisting of the British Army, to come and relieve Fort Pitt from the besieging Indian forces. They came from Fort Ligonier, and they were coming through southwestern Pennsylvania, approximately in this region, and in this area, this is where the Indian forces basically met the British here and ambushed them right on top of that hill. So the British were walking this way, the Indians ambushed them coming up on top of that hill and coming down. Now, the battle started on August 5th, about 1 o'clock p.m. And so the British managed, wait, hold on. Yes. Fort Pitt ambushed the British column 1 mile east of Bushy Run Station at Edge Hill. So the majority of the fighting happened at Edge Hill, but it also happened here. And so when the natives withdrew, Bouquet, the commander of the British Army, ordered a redoubt constructed on Edge Hill, and the British placed their wounded and livestock in the center of the perimeter. And so what happened was the British then rerouted and then basically ambushed and counterattacked the Indians the following day on August 6, 1763, and then won the battle. And it was actually the first time in British history that a British force beat an all-Indian force. That never happened before on North American soil. So I know I didn't really get into the specifics of the battle, and I know it sounded a little bit shaky and a little bit, you know, wishy-washy, so don't hold me to an account. I am not a battlefield historian when it comes to this battlefield. I'm just trying to give a wee bit of a synopsis and a wee bit of a summary on the background of the battle. So don't hold me to a higher standard. I'm not a battlefield historian. But basically, in conclusion, the legacy of this battle, it is really interesting to see this memorial, and it's really interesting that in this part of southwestern Pennsylvania, a battle this, I wouldn't say not as famous, but it's not as big as, let's just say, Gettysburg. But this is a very significant part of the French-Indian War and of British and Indian relations in this region following the end of the French-Indian War in 1763. And it later, and basically after post-battle, the Ohioan forces basically withdrew from this area, and they basically withdrew and said, you know what, we're not going to stay and fight an all-conclusive campaign. We're just basically going to fall back and let the British then resupply Fort Pitt. But basically, at the end of the day, the Ohioan tribes, the Indian tribes, were trying to stop British expansion into the Ohioan country and into further west into these tribes' territories and homelands. So at the end of the day, what do I have to say about this? I agree with these sides, or these guys, and I agree with these guys too. My mother's side of the family is Scottish and English, British. But my other side of the family, on my mother's side, a little bit of parts, a couple branches, a couple hundred years ago, are Powhatan Indians. So I relate and agree with both perspectives. And I hold no animosity towards the Indians or the British in general, because a war is fought by two people, two sides. And neither side is good or bad. Either side is fighting for a cause. They're fighting for their lands, their homes, their peoples. And so, in retrospect, we must empathize and sympathize with both aspects of the battle, and we must understand what both sides were truly fighting for. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.